Hello and welcome to Save Game Channel. Please enjoy this remastered video from the archive and ignore the fact that I sound like a total chipmunk. Something to do with frame rates and video conversions. I don't know. Anyway, settle in for Call of Cthulhu, Shadow of the Comet.
From the now defunct publisher of old, overly complex 80s and 90s DOS games, Infogrames, comes an adaptation of the works of Lovecraft that will make you wish you were reading the books. Join an intrepid young reporter, Mr. Parker, as he attempts to uncover the truth about what happened in Ilsmouth 76 years ago. Mystery, intrigue, comets, murder, frustration, stupid puzzles. This game has it all. You start in Ilsmouth, in a local B&B, which will serve as your base of operations. From there, you'll wander around the town for what seems like an eternity, looking at rundown buildings, ramshackle shacks, and... Oh my gosh, what is that? And wandering through an endless labyrinthian wood that will consume your very soul. As you progress, you'll pick up random items which you will need later. Talk to people who give you no help whatsoever. Get spied on. Discover this town is full of lazy bureaucrats, just like everywhere else. And eventually talk to the town historian, Mr. Jug. This is where things actually start. Mr. Jug tells you tales of mystery surrounding the town and the comet, and hints that there is something more going on that people aren't telling you. Later, after Jug returns home, you'll find clues in his office that lead you to this abandoned fish processing building. There you meet the young man who was alive 76 years ago, when Boleskine came to Ilsmouth to draw the comets, and when supposedly all the weird stuff happened that you're there to investigate. He tells you he never wants to talk about it again, and runs you out of the shack. Well, that was useful. Returning to town, you'll run into this. Is that a dancing bear? Ugh. Here you'll make enemies of the police, which sounds like a great idea, by defending this local band of gypsies. They thank you, but you begin to suspect that the police in the town are hiding something. So you go to have a little chat with Jug, the only character so far who has given you any information whatsoever. No joke, you just wander into his house, all the way back to his bedroom, and then have a casual chat with him. Like, is he not weirded out that you're in his bedroom? Essentially, he tells you he has no idea what's going on, and that you should go figure it out. So, back to your hotel room, where you work a little black magic on a map. Well, okay, you rub off some of the ink with a cotton swab and alcohol, and you discover some star symbols or nonsense like that tells you the location of where Boleskine took photos of the comet. You wrangle this poor sap to show you where to go, and head off into the woods at night to take some photos. What could go wrong? Well, you run into this satanic ritual where you die. Well, you're not supposed to die, but I did, over and over and over again, because the walkthrough is a piece of garbage. Eventually, you figure out how to hide and which way to run once you are discovered, and you make it, dang it. Eventually, you get out of that mess and progress to the next day, where you wake up in your bed with some weird trenchcoat-wearing stranger shoving pills down your throat. From here, you have to find out how to develop those photographic plates that you took yesterday. If you're super smart, you remember that there was a pharmacy nearby. And hey, pharmacies have chemicals, and maybe they have the chemicals you need. If you're dumb, Dr. Trenchcoat tells you to go get more pills from the pharmacist. So either way, you end up here. You ask to use the darkroom, and the pharmacist just says, sure, go ahead, and leaves. Doesn't show you how to do anything. So now you have to figure it out all by yourself. This is where you will lose every last grain of sanity you have left, because you get 8 different chemicals from the shelf, and you only need 4. Well, let's just let this guy explain it.
Dear walkthrough writers, I have 8 chemicals. I have to use 4 of them in a specific order. The game has no hints. Don't tell me to use sodium thiosulfate when it's called benzene chloride in my inventory. Dear game, when something in my inventory is called chromogenose and I pour it on something, please don't suddenly refer to it as potash metabisulfite. I have the chemicals. It's just that this game and the walkthrough writers are f***ing morons.
Anyway, once you have the pictures developed, you look and you die. No, you didn't die, you just had another cardiac episode because of the demon you just witnessed. So, later on, someone drags you out of the darkroom and you continue on your way. Soon you encounter a familiar hooded figure who you follow and who slyly gives you this key. You take it and run over to Jug's house, fearing the worst. And indeed, your suspicions were correct. Blood splatters all over his bedroom. Maybe he should have been a bit more concerned about random people intruding into his house. After another overly complicated mini-game of guess which books you have to take off the shelf and which books you're supposed to leave, you find a secret entrance. Inside there's Jug, bloodied and half dead, but still alive enough to tell you the horrible secret. One day, Trump becomes president. Haha, just kidding. He tells you to go read the Necronomicon. After a brief search, you see it on the desk, take it, and decide, I'd better read this really scary book in the safety of my hotel room. Don't. After reading the book, you put it back like he told you in that wall of text you didn't read, and off you go to read another note in the safety of your hotel room. Here you'll be left to try to unravel the riddle of the message which sends you on another quest out into town, this time to the post office. Now, as with most modern post offices, there is a strange man living upstairs in a wheelchair. This guy tells you, 1. Go find some Indian guy in the woods. 2. Cthulhu and his buddies can grant people immortality. And 3. There's some people around town that have been around for way too long. He sends you to rob the mayor, which you do, and discover this. Which leads you to the post office, again, where you find some familiar-looking robes in a package. Changing into them grants you access to this lighthouse, for some reason. Which conveniently has some wings at the top, which you use to fly off the lighthouse and into the woods? Where you land on some gypsies? Okay, what drugs were they doing when they wrote this? Anyway, the leader of the gypsies shows you this. At this point, you wander around until you end up in the graveyard, go down into the crypt, and attempt to lure out the secrets to just what the heck is going on. 3.5 hours of wandering around dodging traps ranging from bloodthirsty bats to bloodthirsty spiders leads you to the lair of the Jonas Brothers. Well, no. Just this evil guy named Jonas, who sold his soul to Cthulhu to live forever. You steal his 4 participation trophies and hightail it out of there back through this maze of traps and death, where you will die over and over and over and over and over again. Until finally, you make it out. At this point, you've had enough, as evidenced by your face. And you enlist the help of this random woman, who I don't really care at this point who she is, because I just spent 5 hours of my life trying to escape the slug monster. She tells you to go kill 4 people who are serving Jonas to try to kill Jonas for good. So off you go. And, utilizing your newfound skill of pronouncing random consonants and apostrophes, you take out the first 3. The last guy is a total and after 45 attempts, slowing the DOS emulator clock speed back to 1986 levels, and spamming the action button, finally, you make it out alive to destroy the ancient guardians. And then, per usual, collapse into a heap. At this point, you go somewhere, do something, then something else. Look, there's a ton of puzzles, okay? And random searching for things, and eventually you come here. To this guy. This Indian, who appears to be made out of wood, tells you secrets about how to defeat Nakamus, and some ancient Indian guy who sold his soul to Cthulhu as well. He then turns you into a bird and sends you back to town. From there, you shimmy down into this well, find Nakamus, and destroy him with fire. Taking his stuff, you board a small boat, row over to an island, where Obi-Wan comes and tells you how to defeat the tentacle monster. You set that random woman free, kill the tentacle monster, run over to the satanic ritual site, set up your camera for a photo op with Cthulhu, selfie, run around dropping crystals everywhere, or dropping hits of acid, I'm not sure, and boom! Tentacle monster fully and totally destroyed, you win! Now there's just the obligatory victory lap to sit through, and you return with the story of the century. The end. Starring Ricardo Montalban as Dr. Cobble, Pete Carroll as Mr. Jug, David Huddleston as Mayor Dillweed, Mel Gibson as Steve Buscemi as Captain Weirdo, Confession Bear as Dancing Gypsy Bear, and receiving this high praise, Playable from the Baltimore Sun, a triumph of modern gaming. How did you get this number? Don't call here again. The Washington Post.